You are now listening to the J Porks Experience. Listen free on iTunes or at theandydareshow.com. Now, here's Jay.
Yo, what is the word, people? Welcome to another action-packed edition of the J Porks Experience. I'm Jay Porks. With me, as always, on the other side of the glass, making sure this is a well-oiled podcast machine. Every week is nobody. I got a few things to get to. But first, these are a couple of things that I know are indeed true. This year, New Year's Eve at MSG will be missing a certain something that's been there for the last God knows how many years. One of your favorite Beatles is one of the 50 people that's into Kasabian. And it was a really slow week in the terms of music news that I give a shit about, therefore I'm going to communicate to you. So, we'll get it started with MSG. A couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to see everybody's favorite jam band, Phish. I saw them at MSG on their annual New Year's Eve run. They usually do 4 nights at Madison Square Garden. They've been doing it for years. I can't find an exact number because I didn't want to Google in time, but it's got to be at least 10 times they've done it. Anyway, earlier this week, it was leaked Ticketmaster had on sale Diplo and Skrillex at MSG on New Year's Eve. Phish fans went nuts. Hell, I went nuts. Phish at MSG on New Year's is like, it's like New York City smelling like piss. It's something that needs to be, and it's wrong that it shouldn't be happening. But they're gonna do it at Continental Airlines Arena in Miami. Hey, listen, when you have kids, maybe you want to go to the beach. Maybe you don't want to hang out in chilly New York in December/January. Maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you want to go to Miami. Who am I to say what's right and what's wrong in the world of Phish? I do know that the shows will sell out. No matter if they played in fucking Guam, the shows would sell out. Because they're Phish, their fans travel. There's actually, a lot of years ago, Phish played a gig at a place called Big Cypress, and they played all night. And on YouTube right now, there's pro-shot video of 6 hours of footage, almost entirely of that overnight set that they did over at Big Cypress. I'll put that on the notes. What else do I have to do? Also, now you guys know that I'm going to see Kasabian this week. You guys know that you don't know who Kasabian is. Me and about 50 people are fans of this band. Well, one of those 50 people, Ringo Starr. That's right, folks. In an interview with NME, I was going to say NBC. In an interview with NME, the New Music Express, Ringo Starr on the future of rock music, quote, bands will always come through. Let's read the article right here. Ringo Starr has said he believes that bands will be popular in music, and that he has never believed that rock music is dying out. This is fallout from the Gene Simmons "Rock is Dead, the Foo Fighters say no it's not" fiasco. The former Beatles drummer tells NME in this week's magazine, which is on newsstands and available digitally, that he doesn't think the rock genre will disappear and that bands will always come through in the end. He also added that he's a big fan of Kasabian. When asked about Royal Blood being one of the first bands to make it to the #1 slot in the official albums chart with their self-titled debut album last month, Starr said that he has never believed that rock music is dying out. The saving grace for me, I'd have to admit I'm not a big fan of boy bands dancing and stuff, but that thing that saves me is that there's always a band out there. There's always bands playing somewhere, and they'll come through in the end. When asked if bands will always come through in the end, he said, "I think so. I think people want to see people playing and singing." Earlier, I heard Kasabian doing a BBC thing. They're a great band. They play like the rest of us. Pubs, clubs, and now they're a festival band. So I've always felt the band will come through. Speaking out at his own tour, Starr also added, "I always love touring. I love to play. That's what I do. A lot of the bands do it to be famous, but I do it to play. That was all my dream was about. Then we became famous." I think it's really neat that Ringo Starr likes Kasabian, but you play music just to play. You don't play to be famous. So how do you get famous? But isn't that cool? So like on Saturday night when I go to Terminal 5, is Ringo gonna be there? If Ringo's there, I'm hanging. I'm so down. Why would I? Who? The Diplo Skrillex crowd. I think a concert on New Year's Eve for them. I think it bothers their New Year's Eve. I think they're spending New Year's Eve taking drugs on their own. I think a concert is in the way. I think those types of people would be partying already. And if you're not a fan of Diplo Skrillex like I am, I hate them. Um, Follow that Moms vs Molly Twitter account. It's really hacky, but it's funny. It's like when your kid says Diplo killed it, he's right. Hashtag EDM kills. Oh man. What else is going on this week? You know what else is going on this week? Hardly anything. But I got another thing. I read a headline on September 20th. On September 20th, Wu-Tang returned to Wu-Tang Clan finally brought their reunion tour to Brooklyn. Now that's awesome and everything, but why does there's one group that's from Staten Island. Now I know there are no venues in Staten Island. There are no places that have live concerts daily, weekly, monthly. There aren't any. There might be some big clubs, but they're not gonna serve a concert. But I mean, that got me asking: when has Wu Tang ever given back to the community? These guys, I'm all right. These guys aren't Eminem rich, but these guys aren't Jay Pork's poor either. So, I mean, when I'm when I'm like on the bus and I'm going through like a neighborhood where I know that Wu Tang used to smoke crack years ago, I would think like it would be nice to see like, the Method Man Memorial Museum, or not museum, gymnasium, something. Buy a park. You guys did nothing. Played the Barclays Center. See, and here's the thing, Staten Island's a different breed. People don't know like this is a different kind of place. Like it's New York, but it's not, doesn't feel like New York most of the time. And like, I'm one of the only people, I've done most of the shit that Wu-Tang raps about. Like when they rap about thotting around Staten Island, lacing blunts with crack. I mean, We're talking my 2001. That's what we're talking about. Didn't actually. It wasn't. The plan wasn't to lace blunts with crack. But I'll tell you what happened. It's a slow news week. I'll fucking tell you about that time I smoked some crack. So, I think I'm about 14, 15. We're rolling up blunts in the woods. One of my friends comes rolling by, and he says, "Yo, I don't know. There was some kids were coming to beef." Is basically what the message that was conveyed to us was. Yo, we got beef. There's kids coming. We need everybody. Okay, no problem. Let's get over there. We were we were smoking an L. So by the time we got over there, shit had already gotten rowdy. People got hit with Razor scooters is what happened. Remember the Razor scooters? What happened was Tottenville High School. I went to Tottenville High School for the time I was in high school. And their football team, even though this is a school that's in a predominantly, and I'm underlining predominantly, a predominantly white neighborhood, we used to have some kids, like say, we used to have some black kids in the school because we had a lot. I was friends with a lot of them. I mean, we were hood, but we were white. But these kids on the football team, there was a lot of black kids on the football team because, instead of being a third string wide receiver on the school, Curtis High School or Newdorp High School, you come to Tottenville High School and you could start over all the scrawny white kids because you're better than them. So, what happened was, some kids from a rowdy neighborhood, not unlike the neighborhoods that Wu-Tang would frequent as children, they came through to fight. Now, one of my friends, Heather, rest in peace, she knew these kids. Like, she was friends. I mean, she knew of them from school. We weren't like all enemies. So one of the kids says, "Heather, do me a favor. Could you hold this for me?" And he gives her 4 bags of crack. She says, "Okay." So then he comes back after the fight, after the melee, and these kids are running out of our neighborhood. He says, "Where's my thing?" And she says, "Oh, the cops came. I tossed it." And of course she didn't toss it because she's too savvy. And she's like, "Hey, Jay, we got some crack." What? All right, let's go to the woods. I'll tell you the story. Now I'll tell you the story. I've been telling you the story. In the wood, we used to go to the woods and smoke pot. I'm sure anybody who's tried to smoke pot in the past has smoked pot in woods before. Not news. But we had a tent in the woods. We had a tent so we can dome out. And when I say dome out for the non-smoker out there, it's when you're in a tent and or you're in a car and you have the windows rolled up, you call it hotboxing it when you smoke out the car. You have all the smoke in there, so that's the only air you're breathing, so you're fucking wrecked afterwards. So me and 13 of my friends. So anybody, this is just for the week. If anybody comments on this on my Facebook or on my Twitter, and they say that they weren't there, I'm not naming names, but every one of my friends was there. We all hit that blunt. What we did was we took a little of the crack and we sprinkled it into the blunt. Smoking woo bangers. Now people may think, see, a lot of people get confused. A lot of people think woo bangers is when you put coke in a blunt. That is not true. That is called a cocktail. A woo banger is when you put crack in a blunt. And we got it from Wu-Tang. Just saying. How'd it feel? I don't fucking know. It was years ago. I just remember doing it. It's a little bit of my life. So, the point being, if me and my friends can put crack inside a blunt in the woods and smoke it, I think Wu-Tang could play one of these parks in Staten Island and just play to the people on Staten Island. Play to the people who are from where you're from. The only group from Staten Island. You go all over the world. You see people wearing Wu-Tang Clan shirts. If I was Wu-Tang, I would put up the money to build some sort of venue. Build a big bar. What do you guys do? The only money these guys put back into the community is when they buy more crack. That's the only money they put back into the community. And when Raekwon goes to eat. That's what they do. For my 16th birthday, I actually got Raekwon's autograph. To actually show you, this is actually real life. We went to Stapleton. We went to the store training camp to get sneakers, and we saw Raekwon. And he gave us autographs, and we told him we loved his album. We had never heard his album before. That guy looks so poor. I didn't know it was him. Chach pointed him out to me. Chach was like, yo, that's Raekwon right there. The fuck do you know if that's Raekwon? And finally, in the first half, before I get out of here, Wu-Tang Clan's reunion tour finally hit Brooklyn. What is this? What is finally in your headline? They're not from there. They're from Staten Island. Sick of being pushed under the rug. I know we're the forgotten borough. Come on. And no, I don't want to secede from the state like Texas tries to do to America. I don't want to do that. And listen, it's not my fault that it's been a slow news week for music I care about. It really isn't. If I can control it, I would make it so it was a faster week. But I figured this is the only time as any if I was gonna do this, so I get to do it. Do you guys watch TV? Because I do. And it's another thing that I like. Along with music and mind-altering substances and stand-up comedy and more music and podcasting and telling jokes and somewhat sometimes serving Italian food, I like TV from time to time. Now, I watch very few shows. Now, I watch the show Castle. Please don't hate me. I watch any show that involves a writer. If there's a writer being an idiot, I'm on it. So Nathan Fillion plays this writer who follows around a cop and he writes books about it. Anyway, so I go to the Castle Facebook page, like to hit like on the season 7 poster, you know, just to do it. And I'm reading some of these comments. People all capital letters. You shouldn't have done that. First of all, I mean, a show leaves you with a cliffhanger at the end of the season. That's what. If the show is done it 6 times, if the show has done that for 5 seasons, don't expect them not to do it for season 6 going on season 7. What are the writers doing? Let them get married already. Is Castle dead? I hope Castle's not dead. Well, let me just spoiler alert. The show is named Castle. So he's probably not going to die. And for all the people up in arms about the way this show is being written, the way the season goes, the way that they teased a certain alternate reality episode, the way people were commenting on it, saying that they don't want to see that. They don't want to see any alternate reality episodes. They just want to see these two get married. And I just wanted to say to all those people that it's a motherfucking television show. It's TV. It's not real life. It's not even a band. It's not like a band decided to. It's not like one of your favorite bands decided to put on an album of music that's going in a different direction. That didn't happen. It's a TV show. You guys, I mean, I barely watch anything that's on TV, but I'm not going to complain when the one show I watch is leaving me with a cliffhanger. Good, I have something to look forward to. Truthfully, I didn't like the season 6 finale either, but I'm not a fucking idiot who's going to go comment on the Castle Facebook page to make it known that my opinion needs to be heard. Who the fuck cares? It's a television show. So that got me to thinking, like, what shows are you looking forward to? Like, it's fall. We got the Simpsons Family Guy crossover happening this week. That's happening. I can tell you this right now. The world's going to be a little different place after that happens. But we got that. What do you guys like? Because I need some suggestions. I'm not really into much that's on network TV besides, like I said, besides Castle. I watch Californication, it's over. I used to watch Entourage, that's over. Seinfeld's been over. Veep, I watch Veep, but I don't think that's I think that's a spring season show. Oh, and one more. While we're talking about TV shows, I want to apologize. I enjoy The Big Bang Theory. I know. You guys are you're throwing things at wherever you're listening to this right now. I know. I'm sorry. Listen, Kaylee Kuko is hot, and I wrote a paper on the show a couple of years ago in school, so I like it. It's not that. I'm sorry. I could get you not liking it. I don't get you hating it. What's there to hate about it? It's not like Third Rock from the Sun. You don't need to hate it. Everybody runs to... What? What was that show? I remember that show. Damn right you do. You know, we're going to get to the list of websites you need to go to help keep me in business when we come back after this.
Hey everybody, it's Andy from the Andy Dare Show here. Just want to say that I am super proud to have the J Porks Experience be part of Dare Network. And if you want to keep my little podcast network completely free, all you got to do is go to theandydareshow.com, look on the right-hand side of the page, and you'll click on the Amazon banners for all your Amazon needs, and you'll tip your cap to the J Porks Experience and all the fine broadcasting here on Dare Network. Also, be sure to follow Jay on Twitter at JPorks, Instagram at JPorks, and jporks.blogspot.com. Thank you so much for listening, and back to the J Porks Experience.
And we're back. I really, really, really should have gotten to this in the first half. My buddy Linda Kite from LA, she hit me with, well, I saw her on Facebook. She's a huge fan of Jack White, and there's a working list. It's in music.mike. A working list of everything Jack White dislikes. And I mean, there's 19 things here. It's Katy Perry, Foo Fighters, Rolling Stone, Dan Auerbach and the Black Keys, Lana Del Rey, Adele, baseball, cell phones, concert audiences, the Fox Theater, one of the biggest venues in his own hometown. An article written by some chick wrote an article that says Jack White is a chauvinist, and he called her. He said she doesn't do her research. Meg White, he hates Meg White. This is the analogy he used. He called her one of those people who won't high five me when I get the touchdown. I mean, how fucking funny is that? For a guy that's like such an asshole, it's good to have this all in perspective. Ryan Adams is number 17 here. Date of hate. See, alright, all these things have. Oh, this is a list of basically summarized a few Rolling Stone articles that Jack White did, where he started ranting on people. So, like, it says Katy Perry. It says the date of hate is September 2014. It's the latest issue. And the charge is using a wireless microphone and the details. So it says at Wednesday's show, during what his publicist later confirmed was a technical difficulty, White had some words about microphones. So many microphones up here. You know, most performers don't use microphones anymore. 90% of proper singers don't use microphones that have cords on them. And they don't have microphones that use regular diaphragms anymore. White's voice gets buried in cheers at this moment, but he clearly mutters something about Katy Perry, suggesting she is very much about lip syncing. Unlike him, a real rocker who thinks lip syncing is neither cool nor good. Also, the Foo Fighters, and the charge is using a rhythm guitarist. That's the charge. This is such a funny list. But he gets mad at them for having Chris Shiflett or Pat Smear on tour with them. I don't look at the Foo Fighters and think that. I look at the Foo Fighters and think they make boring fucking music. And the thing is, number 3 on this list is Rolling Stone. The charge is clickbaiting, not paying to write about him, not covering the Newport Folk Festival, which they have, and not printing in black and white covers, which they have, but you have to die for them to do that. So Jack White, in an interview with Rolling Stone, declared his hatred for Rolling Stone for being clickbait. The thing about, I think Rolling Stone's like the only website that's allowed to be clickbait. There are tons of other websites out there that are clickbait that Jack White isn't making fun of. Tons of other websites that jock the shit out of Jack White and are definitely using cell phones at his shows. He hates the Black Keys for ripping him off. That's what he says. Lana Del Rey. Now this is funny. The charge is ripping off Amy Winehouse. The deets. In the same Rolling Stone passage, White somehow mocks 3 more musicians on the way to this point. Amy Winehouse. Did she invent white soul wearing a beehive? No. But she did something brand new and fresh, all together as a package. And you see who's in her wake, from the Duffys to the Lana Del Reys, Adele selling 20 million records. That would not have happened if Amy Winehouse was alive. I think I'm the only one to say that when I hear Adele, I think Amy Winehouse. But let's get another thing straight, Jack White. If Amy Winehouse was still alive, smoking crack down the block from the Fox Theater in Detroit before putting on a glorious show, I bet you wouldn't be praising her like this that much. Why does everybody have to be dead before they get appreciated? I remember where I was when Amy Winehouse died. She did, I was doing Sunday brunch at my old job. I like the song Rehab because I had been in rehab. I was one of the only people out of my friends who have. And, you know, I listen to her other stuff. She's cool. She covers Valerie by the Zootons. It's a great fucking song. She's great, good artist. Sad to see her go. Another member of the 27 Club, I believe, which I only have a few more months left to join. Yeah, so they got Jack White looking sad at a baseball game. He hates cell phones. He doesn't have a cell phone. He calls them fucking texting things. even if you want to be against social media and technology, don't call it a fucking texting thing. You sound like you're 70. And he still doesn't have a cell phone, which might be the reason why it's so hard for his publicist to reach him to tell him to stop spouting off in interviews with Rolling Stone magazine and talking shit about everybody in the business. He finds cell phones distracting at shows. People can't even clap anymore. Oh, they can't clap for me, Mr. Jack White. They're not going to clap for me because I just did something glorious. Jack, all your riffs sound the same. That's why you think the Black Keys are ripping you off. Because all those riffs are the same. That guitar tone is exactly the same. My God. People can't clap anymore because they got a fucking texting thing in their fucking hand and probably a drink too. Some musicians don't care about this stuff, but I let the crowd tell me. But I let the crowd tell me what to do. There's no set list. I'm not saying the same things I said in Cleveland last night. If they can't give me that energy back, maybe I'm wasting my time. And he also hates concert audiences in general since 2012, and the charge is not paying enough attention to him, sitting down, texting, filming him, taking selfies, etc. Jack White, I will never, ever, ever buy a ticket to your show because you make it not fun. And the details are basically, it says here, basically Jack White won't rock for anything less than a coke orgy. He walked off multiple times off stages due to lackadaisical crowds. In 2012, he left the show at Radio City Music Hall after just 55 minutes asking, Jesus Christ, is this an NPR convention? And he did the same after 8 songs in Detroit this summer. He's even sent his road manager out before the show to ask the crowd to please not use their cell phones, or please don't sit down in Fox Theater's way comfy seats. And the Fox Theater, in his hometown of Detroit, he doesn't like them because the chairs are too cushy, and it's contradictive to lazy Detroitier butts. Anyway, the details, it says here. After the aforementioned debacle with the chairs and the sitting and the walking off stage, that sounds like some old comedy bit. It sounds like Steve Summers, that's what it is. After with the sitting and the walking off stage, White, who is from Detroit, vowed to never play the Fox Theater again. This will be my last time I play the Fox Theater, he said. It was a final piece of the puzzle. I saved it for a long time. I don't really know what that means. He beat up some guy in 2003. Meg White, I told you about Meg White. One of those people who won't give me a high five when I get the touchdown. He hates monogamy because it's for squares, baby. And let's keep going. Twitter, finally, Twitter. Well, he hates Lady Gaga, but who doesn't? Twitter, date of hate, December 12th, but also probably since the dawn of time. The charge, not enough jokes. Gore Vidal narrating his dishwashing. Gore Vidal narrating his dishwashing and everything else. Surprise, Jack White doesn't like the Twitter. Picking up from where we left off in that Esquire profile, quote from Jack White. Twitter is the most perfect example of modern living. It's very interesting. Just a side opinion about Twitter. I think only people who should have Twitter accounts are comedians, because it's all about one-liners. I would love if Conan O'Brien or Reggie Watts or Stephen Colbert were to walk into a room, tell me one joke, and leave. But you don't want to have Gore Vidal telling you, I'm going to do my dishes right now. No, Jack, we don't. We don't want that. So, a working list of everything Jack White hates. I'll give you, and it's still happening. He can hate more things soon. That could always happen. So, just putting it out there that this could change. But as it stands right now, I'm gonna make sure to include it in the notes. In the notes for you this week at jporks.com. Couple of things before I get into the music portion of this. I passed by the television all the time when I'm in my house because there's TVs everywhere. But when I'm in the living room, I see that my mother is watching Bewitched. And good for her. Sometimes when I'm pouring a soda, I'll overhear what's going on in the episode. A couple of things. One, why would you not want your wife to be able to perform magic? Like, why does Darren shun upon that? Why does he not want her to do magic? Be like, hey, give me $1 million. Bing, make Mr. Stevens the boss. Bing, ding, whatever with the nose. Why does he not want that? And they're always stuck in some predicament that magic could easily get them out of, but they never use the common sense portion of it. Like, all right, for instance, there was a warlock, a male witch who was visiting Samantha or something, and Darren says, "Zap him out of here," and she goes, "I can't. He's a warlock. My power doesn't supersede his." And then the cops come to the door, and then they're in trouble. Instead of just wiggling your nose for a second and making the cops disappear, you guys are hiding a hotbed warmer. No, seriously, it was a hotbed warmer. It looked like a big pan on a stick. How did people survive in the 50s? Like, that looks like a frying pan on a stick. Like, you put that on your bed to warm your bed? How many fires were there? It's always some situation that magic can easily get them out of. And they choose to just I'm not going to do it. Doesn't make any sense to me. It's the little things that bother me. And real quick, if you're a fan of hip hop that you haven't heard yet, I would go take a listen to the 2005 album by Proof called Searching for Jerry Garcia. Yes, I know, that is a very weird thing for Proof to name his album. But check it out. It's some real good hip hop on there. I was listening to it this week, and I was thinking, if I ever made it to Detroit, I need Christina Rocks to take me to all these places that Proof talks about, like the hip hop shop and stuff like that. But the weird thing about that is on the last track, the end of the album features a gunshot, and then somebody sang into a microphone, "Hole killed me, love killed me," and that song is called Kurt Cobain. So, if you want to, make your life a little more weird, go listen to Proof Searching for Jerry Garcia. It's on YouTube. It's a good album. Solid hip hop. Solid hip hop from a guy who's dead. Okay, let's get into the list of websites you need to go to help keep me in business. First of all, there's concertconfessions.com. That's where you'll get all your live music. News and reviews. For the fans, by the fans. We got nothing new on the scroll this week, but next time me and you have a convo, there will be some Kasabian on there. When you're at concertconfessions.com, I urge you to go click those Amazon ads. I mean, you're going to buy stuff anyway. So buy me some things off my Amazon wish list, because, to be honest, I'm out of money. I am out of money right now. And it's not good. It's not good. When you're addicted to things and you run out of money, that is a big, big problem. But I digress. You could also go to ChristinaRocks.com, Hang the DJ, 89xradio.com, every Sunday morning for your old school alternative. I was checking her out this Sunday because I no longer work Sundays. Although, at 4:30 when I got the call asking me where I was, that might be an indication to me that I'm not going to be off on Sundays. But whatever. Whatevs. I knew that was going to happen. But I tuned in. I tuned in right for Susie and the Banshees' Day of Prudence. And then I tweeted, and then Me Puppets got played. Win. And then I was listening to it for the rest of the till 12. Because I had nothing else to do. And because Christine is my friend, and I like to listen to her show. And I like to hear my name getting shouted out on radio stations that could be heard across the country. Go to theandydeershow.com, Deer Network on Twitter. He's got all your podcast needs, whether that's the Andy Deer Show, the Tyler Cale Show, or the J Porks Experience. And finally this week, the headlines are always powered by Annie Quiet. Rotary Downs talks songwriting, The Clash, and being a rock band in New Orleans. Spotted outside their home base of New Orleans, frontman James Marlar also hints at future releases, sitting in with jazz players and dealing with people who dismiss your lyrics as nonsense. Also, you can listen to a new track from the Trent Reznor and Atticus Rose's Gone Girl score. Also, check out the full track list and release date for the score to David Fincher's new film. And the Foo Fighters had their crowd-funded gig in Richmond, and Stu Ruiz was there from Annie Quiet. He's got the full write-up. Also, we've got a Riot Fest Chicago recap. Rory hit me with that at Annie Quiet. And Annie Quiet session number 18, Jessica Hernandez and the Deltas shut down Swing House Hollywood with Annie Quiet session number 18. And Metallica is going to release 27 live albums this year. 27 live albums this year. And the excerpt is, if you have too much money, Metallica has the solution. If those run at $10 a pop, that's $270. If they run at $20 a pop, I'm already out of math that I can do. And this week is once Peyton Manning threw that touchdown pass to send the Denver Seattle game into overtime, everyone started tweeting, "Well, it's a good thing we got a good day of football today, so we can stop talking about Ray Rice and domestic violence and Adrian Peterson and Greg Hardy and do you guys know that when you say that, you're actually talking about it without talking about it?" It's crazy to me. And you know what? I was going to do this in the first half. I didn't. I stayed away because I said, you know what? It's a slow week. I'm going to not try to make any more enemies. But I just saw a headline, and this is going to bother me. Friends premiered 20 years ago today. Friends. For people that like bad television. There is no way in the world. Like, Friends is the perfect example of market research. Advertising and marketing. They figured out what characters to have on a show that would equal which demographic they want to view said show. Let me explain. What are there, 6 of them? Now, I used to have a girlfriend who used to make me watch this show. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. You've got an out-of-work actor you've got a struggling chef, you've got a fucking coffee waitress, you've got a waitress at a coffee shop, and you've got a bum in Phoebe. She's a bum. Smelly cat, smelly cat. She's a fucking bum. Now, the idea that if you took the characters on the show and gave them 3 more friends and moved 18 people into that apartment, you still couldn't afford that apartment. Have you seen that apartment? At least on Seinfeld, they try to make Jerry's apartment look a little cruddy. On Friends, they got a window, they got a balcony, they got a naked guy living across the street. They could all afford this apartment. How do you have money? Chandler's got the real job. Ross has a real job. Ross doesn't live there. Ross doesn't live with those fucking hooligans. Mr. Irresponsible's the only one with his own fucking place. Joey. This guy's the worst actor in the world. And I mean on the show and on the show. I mean, as an actor, he's bad, and he's bad as an actor playing a bad actor. I just don't see. I mean, Lorne Michaels actually said it. He said NBC created Friends. It wasn't like a show that happened. The network created this show. And it premiered 20 years ago on Monday. And people, the masses, love it. I don't know why. I don't get it. And when you have like 3 dudes and 3 chicks on a show, they're gonna fuck eventually. Would Rachel bang Joey too, right? What a slut. And they were on a break. You know, I'm just trying to think of all my little Friends jokes that I remember. That show is for people who like bad television. So when the new seasons of all these shows start this week and next week, I want you people to just thank your lucky stars that Friends isn't a part of the fall lineup. The Central Perk. And I'm gonna mention this because it's all over right now, and I just shared it on my Facebook. There's a person in Alaska. She's a reporter, and on the air, she was reporting about marijuana legalization, and on the air she said, "I'm the head of such and such organization, so fuck it, I quit." And then she just walked out and left the people at the desk flabbergasted. They were like, we're gonna take a break. Next story. So that was awesome. So I shared it on my Facebook, and I'll share it on the notes, and I'll let you see it. Because why would you not want to see that awesomeness? I guess we're still on TV here because I just checked out Rolling Stone. They have a preview of the new South Park. South Park is hitting its 18th season, and on September 24th it will premiere. And oh yes, I just saw it. It's a 1-minute clip, so it's not like a spoiler because I'm gonna share it. You're all gonna watch it anyway. Cartman is sitting in an office, and his company's name is the Washington Redskins, and Dan Snyder is there telling them not to use the name Washington Redskins. They get it. Matt Stone and Trey Parker, they get it. And dear Matt Stone and Trey Parker, if I ever came across like $500, I would go see Book of Mormon. Looks like a great fucking show. I just can't afford theater. I'll stick to the season 7 All About Mormons episode. How awesome is that? So yeah, basically, I mean, when slow news weeks happen, at least TV is happening. And the Replacements played Queens this weekend. They did. And if any video should come of that, you know where to find it. And Colin Farrell is True Detective season 2, so the meme is over. 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 Get it? Like the bridge is over, like KRS-One. Okay. So, you know what I'm gonna do? Fuck it. I think it's about time I got up out of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand you over that list of websites you need to go to help keep me in business so I can keep podcasting and keep crying about things that bother me to you. Okay, so first we got concertconfessions.com for all your live music news and reviews. For the fans, by the fans, Kasabian coming this week. It's happening. And after that, there's more shows because the Meat Puppets are going to be in town. We've also got ChristinaRocks.com. There's no H in Christina. So, or you can just Google Hang the DJ, ... and she hosts the Time Warp, 89xradio.com every Sunday morning. That's old school alternative from 8 a.m. to noon. And tweet random things at her because make her think that I'm sending people her way. Also, theandydeershow.com. Keep it locked. You know what you can do? If you're on the podcast app, or even if you're not, go to iTunes and leave us a review. Say that you like J Porks. You know? I mean, why not? Are you not listening? You're listening. The sweet, sultry baritones of the J Porks experience. It's not like a restaurant that I work at. I'm not going to go write a fake review. You can go to AnnieQuiet.com. That's your source for quality. The headlines every week are powered by Annie Quiet. Folks, whiskey, weed, and Warren Zevon.
This has been the J Porks Experience. Thank you so much for listening.